Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Kitchen Sink Clinic. I'm Casey Rochford. I'm doing my best to combat a lot of misinformation about the COVID-19 problem that everyone is having across the world. There is no global conspiracy. Such a thing would be an insurmountable task that would most assuredly fail. It's so funny that everyone thinks the government is too incompetent to handle something like healthcare, but somehow they're capable of pulling the wool over everyone's eyes and working hand in hand with every other country and all the scientists, like me, to be evil to people. I mean, come on, really? There's a number of videos I've seen lately that are troubling, but one just came to my attention that's already got over 1 million views. It's dangerous that stuff like this is going viral. Basically, this YouTuber, Dana Ashley, she put out a video recently about people taking their cell phones and doing journalism, like real journalism, and they're going around and going to hospitals and saying, well, where are the lines outside? So I thought I should play this video for you and give you kind of a play-by-play commentary, because there's just too much to discuss here.
In an earnest attempt to sort fact from fiction, citizen reporters are popping up and hitting the streets to verify whether or not what we're hearing about these hospitals is true.
Approximately how many coronavirus patients have you seen? How many? You don't know? 2? 100? 3. You've seen 3.
So again, there are no lines of people. There is no mass chaos out here, contrary to what the mainstream media is telling you.
How do you know they had coronavirus? Do you guys test in the ambulance? You don't know. You assume.
Yeah, assume. It's not concrete. It's assume. Based off of symptoms.
Symptoms?
Can you?
Okay, so right off the bat here, we've got a little bit of a twist going on here. They're trying to get you to think that all of this is guesswork and none of it's backed by science. The people, these EMTs, no, they're not testing people, because the test has to be taken to a lab and run on a reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction, an RT-PCR test. So this is not something that can be done in the back of an ambulance. They can take a sample, sure, but an EMT's job is a little bit more focused in making sure a person doesn't die on the way to the hospital. They're not there for diagnostics.
Blame Americans for wanting to verify the truth when networks like CBS are doing things like this?
Cases are being found right here. Crowded subway cars may have accelerated the spread. New York's governor says FEMA gave the state 400 ventilators. To that, he said this.
What am I going to do with 400 ventilators when I need 30,000?
So when you're watching this from CBS, the slant, is the great need for the equipment. We don't have enough equipment. So the crowded ER shot demonstrates we have an epicenter of this disease in New York, and we don't have enough. We need 30,000 ventilators. But the only problem is this footage has already run on Sky News on March 22nd, talking about Italy. Yeah.
Okay, so while this is on the surface maybe a little disingenuous looking, media does this all the time. The news is a very visual thing. If they don't have particular footage from something, they'll use footage from another thing, just as a visual representation. Now, that representation, while maybe not being the same thing exactly, does not automatically mean that there aren't tons of people in a particular ER. And no, not every ER is going to be inundated with people. It's usually going to be in densely packed cities. I mean, if you walk into a hospital out in the middle of the country, no, you're not likely to see lines of people. You're not likely to see packed ERs. I mean, that's just the nature of this whole business. And the clip that they showed of the media, how is that spreading fear? We're talking about a real situation. Social distancing is necessary. And there's people on a crowded subway coughing and sneezing and just breathing with no windows. You know, all that virus can be circulating around through that stale air on droplets, getting into people's mouth, nose, and eyes. This is something that really needs to be taken seriously. There's a huge difference between trying to take something seriously that happens to be pretty critical and trying to fearmonger, which is actually what this video here is doing, by the way, is trying to get you afraid of the government, trying to get you afraid of doctors and scientists. That's bad. That's stupid. Don't do that.
This is the main hospital in Bergamo, in Lombardy province. It's one of the most advanced hospitals in Europe. But it's the most hard hit of all the hospitals.
Once again this morning, the city's hospitals will be on the front lines in this war against the coronavirus. In Elmhurst, Queens, that hospital there, lines of people lining up already this morning for about the last 45 minutes. Confirmed cases, people waiting to get tested. Supplies are in demand there.
Somebody said there will be hordes of people inside. That's why I didn't go in. Let's see, the doctor with his mask on and everything. Look at that. Nobody. Completely empty. There's just police, no EMS, nothing.
An interesting thing that I saw in the comments of this video, as someone who's familiar with Elmhurst Hospital, that was the entrance to a maternity ward. That's why you're not seeing emergency personnel there. There's some security posted, as you would see in a lot of urban hospitals. This is a spin. This is a media twist, and it's coming from regular Joe Blow with his cell phone, trying to get people all scared of science.
Nothing, absolutely. Ghosts. That's all they got you afraid of, ghosts.
With the growing number of patients as supplies dwindle, you can see barricades behind us set up here outside of the hospital to keep order here because so many have been lining up every day to get tested.
Where's the long lines of people trying to get tested? I don't see that.
I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what it looks like here in New York City. The mayor, the governor says our hospitals have been turned into war zones. Well, I want to give you an idea of what that war zone looks like here in downtown Brooklyn. So this is my neighborhood. This is the Brooklyn Hospital Center. And again, you're hearing one thing on the mainstream media, and this is what it's like in reality. This is where people normally stand up to get testing for the coronavirus. But as you can see, not much happening. And this is a hospital that serves thousands and thousands of people here in downtown Brooklyn, New York. There are no lines of people. There is no mass chaos out here, contrary to what the mainstream media is telling you.
Here's those tents they had set up. This is what you saw on the news.
At Elmhurst Hospital, lines of people outside wait to get tested. A refrigerated truck has now been brought in here, a makeshift morgue.
Here's the refrigerated truck for the dead people, but no action.
Ambulances have seen a surge in calls, responding to nearly 5,800 Thursday.
I'll start with the no action around the outdoor morgue. exactly what do you think people are dying like every 30 seconds in your city? Because if that's what you think, that has nothing to do with what the media is telling you, because the media is not telling you that at all. They're not even trying to get you to think that. And to go back to the fact that there's no lines of people outside of the hospital at this particular moment when they're standing there with their cell phone, has nothing to do with what might be going on in the ICU. The whole war zone is a very real thing, because doctors and nurses are being put at risk every day to treat the people that have COVID-19 with limited supplies, limited testing. A lot of the times when you hear a line or a queue, it's going to be people waiting for their results. It's going to be, people might be waiting in line at 1 hour of the day and not at another. I mean, for all we know, this video was taken at like 6 in the morning when people are sleeping. You really got to take into consideration the lack of critical thinking that these so-called journalists are, sorely missing. And they're banking on the fact that you'll be missing that critical thinking too. So that's what I'm here to do, is help you garner an understanding about how to think about things critically, because there's a huge difference between skepticism and paranoia. Skepticism is analyzing things with the scientific method, thinking about all the different nuances and aspects and factors that play into something. Paranoia is saying, well, because I don't see mass activity right now, there must never, ever be mass activity. It's all a game.
All parked ambulances, no patients, nobody's rushing anywhere.
In fact, we got a couple of ambulances here waiting to be called into action. Here's some crazy busy guys. Yep, they're on their cell phone, watching Netflix.
I understand these are New Yorkers and they went through something terrible on September 11th, 2001. This isn't like that. 3,000 people weren't killed in a matter of hours. This is something that's kind of slow moving, but getting exponentially worse. And you're not going to see 24/7 action from a movie, like ambulances flying around and people crying, gnashing teeth, and pulling hair out as they, deal with like mountains of dead bodies and stuff. What are you really expecting here? Is it all or none for you? Like, is it not a big deal unless you see mountains of bodies piled in the streets?
And officials say this, unfortunately, is just the beginning, with the crisis expected to last for months and the peak of it all still on the horizon. We are live in Elmhurst, Queens this morning. Rena Roy, CBS 2 News.
Rena, thank you.
Nothing, absolutely. Ghosts. That's all they got you afraid of, ghosts.
Hello.
What? Oh, no problem.
Phyllis and William Mack Pavilion here on 7th Avenue. There's one guy in the waiting room. It's not too crazy. And as you see, there's an emergency sign, open 24/7, and new people.
We control the disease by controlling the information.
You can't protect the public by lying to them.
It's done every day.
Okay. Now, if we want to talk about putting a spin on stuff and telling you what to believe, dropping in some X-Files clips kind of makes you look like the weirdo.
Walk-in healthcare clinics around the state say they've been overwhelmed by the demand for coronavirus testing, causing frustration.
We were overwhelmed yesterday with the response to people wanting testing.
Urgent Care Hawaii says its drive-up service was deluged by requests for coronavirus tests, some waiting as long as 4 hours.
Here's my question, guys. What's the game here? You're smart people. Why are they whipping us into a panic? Why are they lying about massive lines of people at testing centers? Night after night being told there are these long lines of people being managed at the urgent care, that they're being overwhelmed.
Some waiting as long as 4 hours.
Actually, the president or CEO of urgent care, while I was in front of the place, was telling me, we're doing the best we can, managing these massive lines. I'm like, I'm here, lady. And there's no lines.
As you can see, the ER, the hospital, is not overwhelmed. Where are all these sick people at for this quarantine? Hospital number 2. The first one was North and East in Louisville, Kentucky. And this one is Baptist East in Louisville, Kentucky. The first one had nobody waiting in the waiting area. 2 nurses are sitting at the desk. The quarantine tent where they take the test was empty.
Lovely anecdote there. How about you show us? But even if we weren't staring up your nostrils, it wouldn't make a difference if you're there and you're not seeing lines of people. That doesn't mean there aren't a bunch of people in the ICU, as I mentioned before.
People look at the testing centres. This is what they're telling you testing is going on in. Where's the testing? They're empty. They're abandoned people. There is no testing going on. Where's the testing? Where is it? The show that's getting put on for you. Leo and Coveney and Simon will be down out for the photo op soon and have loads of people with masks letting on to be coming in to get tested. Look, there we are. There is no bloody testing. Right down to the end, look. There is no testing going on in these tents.
Aye, lassie. There's no testing going on in these tents. Oh my God. What's telling you that those are actually even active yet, or haven't just been brought out of service, or that it's even a tent intended for that at all?
As you can see, waiting area is empty.
I can see your reflection.
Hi. I'm just looking for my family. They were supposed to be here already waiting it might be another hospital. Nobody's in there. Nurses are just taking an easy day.
We were overwhelmed yesterday with the response.
Don't go saying that nurses are just playing cards like that one politician lady. These people have serious jobs, and just because they're not running around on their feet 12 hours constantly, which some of them are, by the way, but you're talking about people working at the front desk there. Their job is to be at the front desk and check people in as they come in. And another thing worth noting is that a lot of people have been told to stay home for relatively benign, normal things. A lot of elective surgeries have been pushed back, regular physicals and checkups. This is all being done to reduce the amount of people in a given area, especially the hospitals where there's a large number of COVID patients coming through and potential COVID patients, because there's a lot of the symptoms that do mimic the flu. But as I'll just direct you to another video that I've done about the differences between the flu and COVID-19, because that's an important distinction that you need to understand.
Urgent care doesn't want me to document. They're lying on the news about being overwhelmed with lines and testing all these people. They're taking state money.
No, they don't want you to document people in the hospital because of HIPAA violations, privacy.
And they're not testing anyone. They're taking our money. Look at that line, officer. You see that line? So are these the overwhelming lines that you guys have been lying to the people of Hawaii about? I'm a journalist, and this is going to be
You're a journalist. Huh.
About how you're lying that there are massive lines that you're doing.
We were overwhelmed yesterday with the response.
You tested 25 people here yesterday?
Yeah.
You said that.
I said yesterday, and is today yesterday, dude?
You didn't test 25 people. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I got nobody going in. Are you the CEO of Urgent Care? Wow, you must be upset.
So it seems like people all over the world are sick of lies in the media. So sick of it that they've decided to do something about it. They're on the scene doing the work that the now so-called approved news outlets should be doing.
So-called approved news outlets. Let me just take this moment to point out what journalism is and is not. Loaded statements like that are crafted carefully to tell you what to think without blatantly telling you what to think. So-called is pretty tongue-in-cheek, trying to say that you shouldn't trust anything that's on the news. Now, they may sensationalize things, yes, but that doesn't mean they're lying. This, however, is sensationalism with complete dishonesty behind it.
I myself went to go pick up some food at a local restaurant to help those guys afloat during this unprecedented attack on our small businesses.
Unprecedented attack on our small businesses. Excellent piece of journalism. I mean, editorialization. Why don't you go work for Fox News?
And the CFO of our local hospital happened to be there as well. And she said that the hospitals were not only completely dead, but that they were, quote, burning through cash like mad, end quote. So part of the reason that the hospitals are empty is because they've canceled all the elective surgeries and things like that. They say, of course, to keep the huge influx of virus folks separated from the public. But
that's right, as I have explained before, and which is backed by science.
Something's going on, folks, and it ain't a virus.
Yes, it is.
As you can see from this footage taken by one of my subscribers, by the way, who's an attorney, all over California and the greater LA area.
What's being an attorney have to do with this? That's not a scientist. Come on, lady.
Which is meant to be more hard hit, right? First to be put on the lockdown. There's no long lines of people dealing with virus present. The parking lots are eerily empty. And I'd like to applaud all these folks with the ability to question what we're being told.
Question things, sure, that's fine. But come into it with an open mind. You and all of these people with their cell phones have already made up their minds. They've gone out looking for any way that they could create evidence to support their already firmly held belief. This is cherry picking. How much footage do you think they really went to the trouble to get? Do you think they sat there for 24 hours trying to monitor the whole situation, take an average perhaps, maybe compare that to the average that a hospital usually sees? I don't think any of these people put any ounce of critical thought into this.
Have enough desire for truth to get out and verify it for themselves.
And you guys don't know anything about where the testing is being done? I haven't found a single place that'll test anybody. Do you know? Yeah, they have lists, and then when you go there, they say no.
Why would the security officer know where the tests are being done?
While my inbox is a nightmare right now, so I want to ask, please don't send me more videos of this kind of thing with the hospitals, unless you can also provide a link to a contradictory news report of the same location that is covering an event that you can disprove with your own on-the-scene footage. Now that I would like to get, but just random video footage of hospitals, I'm afraid that would overwhelm me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not already overwhelmed by the amount of bullshit.
This guy here from Germany had the cojones. He walked through the whole hospital to show the world it is completely empty.
Because of what you just said a moment ago. All elective surgeries have been canceled. For the most part, most of the hospital will be a ghost town. And that makes sense. And that's what we want, actually. So, look here. This is something that can be transmitted through the air by a cough or a sneeze or breathing even. patients that may have this or do have this have to be kept optimally in pressurized rooms that have pressure differential from the hallway to the room, where when you open the door, positive pressure in the hallway flows in to the room rather than air from the room going out into the hallway and spreading around. Now, this is done carefully with HVAC systems. Not every portion of the hospital is set up to do that, for reasons I think is obvious. Why spend the money to do that if it's not necessary in every inch of the hospital? So if you just go walking through the halls of a hospital right now, any given hospital, even in the epicenters, no, I don't expect you would see people lying on the floor, like it was some kind of third world country hospital. These are the types of things that are just here to get people to think, oh, this is the truth that's been hidden from me by the mainstream media.
And he did comment that the hospital workers were also very dubious about this whole theory as well.
Das ist alles übertrieben und so. Das, was in den Medien berichtet wird, das können Sie nicht nachvollziehen, dass sich das nicht deckt mit dem, was hier tagtäglich passiert.
Oh, and I thought this was really interesting. For those who don't already realize that there is a CORONA, California, and there is a Corona Regional Medical Center.
So because there's a city in California called Corona, that's a conspiracy? Is that what you're implying here, lady? Really? Really? Oh, please, do tell more.
Within it. And of the over a dozen hospitals this guy ran around diligently checking out, this one too had zero evidence of lines of people getting tested or evidence of chaos. But what it did have were big signs out front surrounded by orange that said, "Hospital Disaster Drill in Progress."
It's so unfortunate that some kook happened to catch an actual drill in progress and send it to this kook, who is now using that voice, and maybe I need to replay it so you can hear what that voice is.
Hospital Disaster Drill in Progress. Hospital Disaster Drill in Progress. Hospital Disaster Drill in Progress.
It's that conspiracy theory voice that's trying to get you to think that this whole thing is a drill because in the 30 seconds somebody drove by that there actually was a drill. They're trying to imply that the entire global pandemic was concocted as just a drill.
Drill, huh? Interesting. Drill, huh? Drill, huh? Drill, huh? Interesting. Interesting.
That's about all I'm going to say on the matter in this video. I don't want it to get too long. I've never seen a video from this woman before, but I'm interested to see what other kinds of hogwash she's spreading around to millions of viewers, which frankly scares the crap out of me. So if you care about actual science and skepticism and critical thinking, logic, and the truth, why don't you help make this viral? Get people actually thinking instead of just moving from one narrative to the next, being told exactly what to think by conspiracy theorists. Thanks for joining in another Kitchen Sink Clinic. Be sure to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot of great content. It's not all about COVID-19. We talk about everything, literally, in deep detail. So, thanks again, and